and welcome as we explore another parsha presented by Rabbi Weiss Halivni in his book Divrei Halev, edited by Rabbi Ronald Price and published by Geffen Publishing. I was fortunate to know Rabbi Halivni personally and valued his bestowing upon me my Orthodox smicha. As a professor of Talmud, his comments on the weekly parsha are especially meaningful in that he is able to teach us on a regular basis a direct connection between the Torah shebichtav, the written Torah, and the Torah sheba'al peh, the oral Torah, the rabbinic exegesis found in the Midrash and Gemara. For each parsha, Rav Halivni shares 3 to 4 insights. For our parsha, Ra'eh, we are fortunate that he has shared 6. Our focus, however, will only be on one, entitled Achieving Closeness to God, One Step at a Time. In this volume, our style is defined in incongruity, in a verse in which we may base a moral lesson. At the same time, we are deeply interested in how one may come closer to the Holy One, blessed be He. In this parsha, a single verse in the midst of the discussion on false prophecy offers a concise formula for living a God-infused life. After the Lord your God you shall walk, and him shall you fear, and his commandments shall you keep, and his voice shall you hearken, and him shall you serve, and to him shall you cleave. The verse describes both a prescription and a progression. The first step is choosing to live within the framework set out by Hashem. That choice starts the process of narrowing down the many paths available to follow. By choosing Acharei Hashem Elohechem, after the Lord your God, we eliminate Acharei Elohim Acherim, after other gods. Having chosen the proper path, we will then discover his existence, and therefore, V'oto tira'u, fear him. When we combine the truth with Ve'et mitzvotav tishmaru, and observe his commandments, we realize and accept that he gave the mitzvot and we must keep them. This opens to us, uvekolo tishma'u, hear his voice. We have thus reached the step that reflects personal contact with God. By this point, we not only hear his voice with our ears, but our whole person becomes attuned to va'oto ta'avodo, serving him. Only then will we reach uvo tidbakun, to be united with him. This 15-word verse summarizes a lifelong process of choices that in the end arrives at the maximum closeness a human being can achieve to the divine. Rabbi Halivni is explaining to us that while there was a strong Hasidic influence that permeated his life, his early life, prior to the Nazi occupation of Hungary, as described in his biography, The Book and the Sword, He presents this particular verse from our parashah, Devarim chapter 13, verse 5, as a step-by-step progression towards greater Jewish spirituality. It is not a question of gender, nor is it an advocating of a particular brand or approach to Jewish life. Instead, it is a personal guide, a how-to manual as to the steps by which one can have a more personal relationship with the Almighty. One must first acknowledge that having such a relationship is both desirable and meaningful for one's spiritual, emotional, and perhaps even physical well-being. Having done so leads one to have greater awe, respect, and awareness of God's role not only in one's own life, but in the affairs of humanity and the cosmos as a whole. Doing so on an intellectual basis, however, is not sufficient. One must next put such considerations into tangible behaviors by living one's life in accordance with the guidelines, ritually, ethically, socially, in accord with practices that guide your behavior towards others, regardless of their faith, gender, or race, and to helping make the world a better place. In turn, to help reinforce such behaviors and increase one's awareness, study of classical Jewish sources, along with regular worship, provides one with the opportunities to speak with God and incorporate his responses in your life. In doing so, a relationship is fashioned with the divine that permeates one's entire life. While the concept of Dveikus may reflect a more mystical view of one's relationship with Hashem and reflect Rav Halivni's youth and early theological foundations, his structured and didactic methodology in interpreting our verse gives us insight into appreciating the classical methods of Talmudic study and legal interpretation, which were also not only an important part of his life, but serves as a basis for the guiding principles of the Union for Traditional Judaism, promoting open-minded observance, reflecting a commitment to halakha, combined with intellectual openness, loyalty to the totality of the Jewish people, and the view that the ritual, as well as the ethical obligations of classical Judaism, brings us closer to God. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.